I came home from the hospital a day early, heart still aching from surgery, and found my husband in our bed with another woman. She was laughing. He was shirtless. Our wedding photo tilted on the nightstand, watching like a ghost. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood there, breath caught in my chest. Then I turned around and left. No warning, no drama, just silence. But what they didn't know was that I'd already prepared for this moment. And what came next, it wasn't revenge, it was strategy. And it would change everything. I had been discharged from the hospital a day early. The nurse said it was a good thing you're healing faster than expected. Mary must be all that inner strength. I smiled, weakly. 3 nights in the cardiac unit with beeping machines, cold oatmeal, and 0 calls from my husband. David said hospitals made him anxious. Said he'd be waiting when I got back. He wasn't. Well, he was. Just not in the way I expected. The cab ride home was quiet. I rested my head against the window, imagining the chicken soup he might have made, the blanket he might have warmed, the flowers he used to buy after my surgeries. My heart throbbed not from the stitches, but from a strange heaviness. His car was in the driveway, parked crooked like he had rushed inside. The porch light was off. I got out slowly, thanked the driver, and walked toward the door. I didn't even open it all the way, just enough to hear laughter, a woman's laugh. It wasn't me. I froze, my breath caught in my chest. My fingers trembled on the door frame. I didn't make a sound. I walked upstairs on autopilot. The bedroom door was cracked open, and there they were, David and a woman I'd never seen tangled in my sheets. My sheets. Her leg over his hand on her back. They didn't even hear me, or smell the antiseptic still on my skin. Our wedding photo was tilted sideways like it couldn't bear to watch either. I stood there 10 full seconds, then I turned, walked out, quietly shut the front door behind me. The cab was still outside. Back downtown, I said, my voice low. The driver blinked. You just got home? I know, I whispered. Drive. And as the city blurred past my window, I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I let the silence settle in. Because while David thought I was lying helpless in a hospital bed, I had already started preparing for this. I didn't go to a hotel. I went straight to Ellen Grant's office. She's not just a lawyer. She's been my friend since college, sharp, relentless, the kind of woman who eats misogynist for breakfast and smiles while doing it. I texted her one word on the way green light. By the time I arrived, she was waiting with coffee, almond milk, just the way I liked it. You're early, she said, eyes narrowing. Too early. I sat down, unzipped my tote bag, and pulled out a thick folder. David cheated, I said. Ellen didn't blink. With who? Some woman with salon blonde hair and a birthmark on her shoulder. I saw her. In our bed. She exhaled. Okay, time to detonate. That folder I handed her, it wasn't just legal paperwork. It was the blueprint of my escape, of my retaliation. I had been planning it quietly for months, not because I knew he was cheating, but because I felt something was rotting between us. The late nights, the passwords changed, the weird Venmo transactions he brushed off. So I started moving things, our joint savings, the investment accounts, the house deed. Last year, when I set up a nonprofit for veterans housing, I registered our home under the Foundation's protection clause. David never noticed. He was too busy flirting with real estate agents and pretending to be busy at work. Retreats. Ellen flipped through the documents like a surgeon reading x-rays. You already transferred everything, she murmured. Every cent I was entitled to, I replied. And froze the rest this morning. She looked impressed. Mary, this is surgical. You want divorce proceedings? Of course. But I want more. He's not walking out of this with a penny or a reputation. I showed her the screenshots, bank records, suggestive texts, emails he forgot to delete from our shared laptop. He wasn't just unfaithful. He was reckless. Ellen leaned back. You ready to burn it all down? I sipped my coffee. No, she raised an eyebrow. I'm ready to let it collapse and let him realize brick by brick that I was the one holding it all together. We filed everything that afternoon: divorce papers, emergency injunctions, temporary account holds. Ellen had a courier deliver notice to his workplace same time I'd be changing the locks. As I walked out of her office, sunlight hit the sidewalk, warm, clean. I wasn't healed yet, but I wasn't helpless anymore either. By sunset, I had erased him from every inch of my life. First, the house. I called the locksmith and had every lock changed: front door, back door, garage, even the mailbox. David once joked that I was paranoid about home security. Turns out, I wasn't paranoid enough. Then came the alarm system. I changed the entire code, flagged his profile as unauthorized, and removed his access from the mobile app. Our Nest cameras redirected, all data saved to a private cloud folder Ellen now had full access to. The best part, I watched him on camera as he tried to come back in. It was almost poetic. He walked up the front steps like he owned the place. Hair still wet from the gym, keys jangling, probably whistling. Click, jangle, twist. His key didn't work. He paused, tried again. Then he rang the bell. I didn't answer. Instead, I watched from Ellen's car across the street sipping green tea. She parked with precision angled just right. We could see everything. He knocked louder. Then he called me 6 times. I muted it. Then came the text. What the hell is going on? Are you okay? I almost laughed. This man was in my bed with another woman less than 24 hours ago, and now he was worried I'd had a breakdown. Sweetheart, I had a breakthrough. Then the second wave of loss hit him. The car, the black Audi Q5 he always bragged about lease, was under my name. I had arranged for it to be picked up that same afternoon. It was gone from the driveway by 3:00 p.m. He stood there staring at the empty space like it had evaporated. His card stopped working too. I made sure of that. The joint account was closed. The emergency credit line he thought was ours had been frozen. I could see him scrolling frantically on his phone, checking balances, checking apps, pacing. Then the knock turned into a full-on tantrum. Mary opened the door. This isn't funny, I whispered to Ellen. Do you think he's more upset about the locks or the Audi? She smirked. The ego. Always the ego. I didn't confront him. Didn't scream or throw things from the window like in some dramatic movie. I let him stand there, unraveling. Until finally he sat on the porch staring at his phone, lost and small. And I turned to Ellen and said, Let's go. As we pulled away, I didn't look back. Because this wasn't about punishment, it was about removal. And I had just removed the virus from my life. The next morning, I sat by the window of my hotel room, sipping lukewarm coffee and watching the city wake up. I hadn't slept. Not really. My body was still weak, but my mind sharper than it had been in years. My phone lit up 12 missed calls from David, 3 voicemails, 1 long rambling text that said, Mary, please. We need to talk. You're blowing this way out of proportion. Out of proportion. Right. Betrayal in my home, in my bed after heart surgery. Yes, clearly. I was the problem. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop, logged into the legal portal Ellen had set up for me, and reviewed everything divorce filing. Initiated. Asset transfer confirmed. Evidence archive uploaded. And then I did something David never expected. I reported him and her to the university. You see, David worked in admin at a local college. Boring job, very safe. But the woman I caught him with, Dr. Amanda Lee, tenured faculty ethics department. Yes, ethics. I filed a complaint with the Title IX office, complete with screenshots of their messages, timestamps of campus hotel receipts, and a handy note about how they were using work hours and school property for their research. By lunchtime, I received a formal reply. Your concern has been escalated to the Office of Academic Integrity and HR. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Within days, Amanda was placed on administrative leave. Her department email was deactivated, her lectures canceled. David, meanwhile, panicked. He called again. This time, it wasn't just, we need to talk. It was, I'm being questioned at work. Did you tell someone? What the hell are you doing? I didn't reply. He wanted fireworks. He wanted drama. What he got was silence. Amanda's life began crumbling first. Turns out she wasn't divorced like she claimed, just separated. Her real husband, a high school teacher named Brian, got an anonymous envelope from me. It had printouts of their emails, a few hotel invoices, and one particularly passionate beach selfie captioned, "He makes me feel 20 again." Yeah. Brian filed for divorce the next morning, and David, he got suspended, all because he chose to gamble with the wrong woman and thought I'd just fall apart. No, I was assembling my army quietly, and I wasn't done. I hadn't spoken to David's parents in months. Not since Christmas, when his mother, Martha, made that passive-aggressive comment over dinner. At least David's providing Mary. Not every woman can say that. As if my nonprofit work didn't count. As if I was just some burden they tolerated. So when I pulled up to their house that Sunday afternoon wearing black slacks, a cream blouse, and carrying a slim folder under my arm, I knew exactly how this was going to go. David opened the door himself. His eyes widened. "Mary." I gave him a tight smile. "Is your mother home?" He stepped back instinctively. "Why are you here?" Martha appeared behind him, arms crossed, eyebrows arched. "Oh, you. Not hi, not how are you, just contempt like always. I'd like to speak with both of you," I said, calm as ice. They led me into the living room. Robert David's father barely looked up from his tablet. "You have 5 minutes," Martha said flatly. "I'll only need 3. I sat down, opened the folder, and pulled out 3 documents. A detailed breakdown of over $40,000 in unauthorized withdrawals David had made from our joint account, including payments to Amanda and transfers labeled conference trips. An official letter from the university confirming an active investigation into Amanda Lee and David Taylor for professional misconduct, abuse of campus resources, and inappropriate use of school time. The deed to our house proving that David hadn't owned it for over a month. It now belonged to a foundation run by my cousin Julia and had been leased back to me under a private contract. Robert leaned forward. "What? Is this receipts?" I said simply. Martha's lips twitched. "You're bluffing." I slid the documents across the table. You're welcome to verify them with the county registrar's office or with the university HR department. David stood frozen in the corner, silent, pale. And one more thing I added, pulling out the final paper. This is a cancellation notice for the automatic mortgage payments I've been making on your home for the last 2 years, Martha gasped. What Robert looked like someone had slapped him. I never told you, I said. It was going to be a surprise gift in December. A quiet way of saying thank you, even though I never really got one in return. David's voice cracked. Mary, don't do this. I didn't do anything, David. You did. I stood up. You invited another woman into my bed while I was recovering from surgery. You thought I wouldn't find out. And even if I did, you thought I'd stay quiet. Crawl away. I turned to Martha. And you encouraged it. You treated me like a placeholder, a wallet with a heartbeat. She didn't respond. I just came to return the favor with facts and consequences. Then I walked out. Behind me, I heard shouting, Martha yelling, Robert slamming something down, David's voice cracking into pieces. But I didn't look back. Because that chapter was over. The unraveling wasn't loud. It was quiet, methodical, and absolutely devastating. David didn't believe me at first, thought I was bluffing about the house, the accounts, the university, but reality has a way of catching up. The eviction notice came on a Thursday morning, hand-delivered by the sheriff's office. He was still asleep on the couch of his friend's studio apartment when they knocked. I heard about it from a neighbor who texted me gleefully. Girl, they served your ex like a courtside dish. He looked like he was about to faint. Apparently, he begged the officers to let him stay, said it was all a mistake. But it wasn't. The house wasn't his. It hadn't been for weeks. David left with just 2 duffel bags and the bruised ego of a man who finally realized he wasn't the center of the universe anymore. Meanwhile, Amanda, his affair partner, was spiraling. The university investigation had wrapped quickly. Her department had found evidence of misuse of funds, unapproved absences, and inappropriate conduct with staff. Her tenure was revoked. Her office cleared out. And in a final twist of irony, the ethics board released a public statement distancing themselves from her behavior. Her husband, well now ex-husband, filed for divorce the same day he got my envelope. And Amanda. She tried to play the victim online, posted things like, women are always the ones blamed when a man cheats. Some people will twist your truth to destroy your future. I made a mistake, but I didn't deserve to be ruined. I watched in silence until one night I created a burner account and commented on one of her public posts. Did you apologize to the woman whose bed you used while she was recovering from heart surgery? The post went viral. Her comments exploded. People reposted it. Others dug deeper. Screenshots started surfacing, old photos, Venmo payments, blurry parking lot kisses. Amanda deleted her profile within 48 hours. David, he tried to do the same. He messaged me finally. Mary, this is cruel. You're destroying my life. Wasn't it enough to leave? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, for the first and last time, I begged for your loyalty for 12 years. You gave me a betrayal and expected silence. This isn't cruelty. This is balance. Then I blocked him. No more calls, no more explanations. He had gambled everything and lost. And me, I finally felt light again, not because I won, but because I had let go. A year later, I wake up to birdsong, not sirens, not slammed doors, not the weight of someone else's chaos, just the quiet hum of lake water and wind through pine trees. My new home is a modest cabin near a veterans community center upstate. 2 bedrooms, a tiny dock, no drama. Every morning I make tea, journal, and walk barefoot on the grass. And every afternoon I volunteer at the nonprofit I built years ago, now fully funded, thriving, and partly sustained by court-ordered restitution from David. Every month, like clockwork, $1,427 arrives. His payment, not to me directly, but to the foundation that helps women like me, women who've been emotionally erased, financially trapped, or simply lied to for years while being called crazy or clingy. I don't touch a penny for myself. But sometimes I stare at the deposit notice in my inbox and smile. Closure doesn't come from yelling. It comes from control, from knowing you got out clean, that you didn't just survive, you redesigned the battlefield. People still ask me if I miss him. I don't. I miss who I thought he was. I miss the man who kissed my forehead before surgery, the one who held my hand during our first mortgage approval, the one who promised forever and meant it for maybe 5 minutes. But missing a memory isn't the same as missing a man. David isn't a villain. He's just a man who made choices and assumed I wouldn't. And Amanda, I don't think about her much. She wasn't my problem. She was just the moment the curtain dropped. Somewhere out there, I'm sure they're telling their own version of this story. That I was cold, that I snapped. Let them. The truth is simple. I gave love. I got betrayal, and I responded not with fury, but with facts. And now I'm at peace. Really, finally, at peace. I planted sunflowers last week. They're already sprouting. Funny how things bloom when you stop watering the wrong roots. I used to think forgiveness was something you gave to others to move on to be the bigger person. But now I understand. Forgiveness is what you give yourself when you stop trying to carry what broke you. David didn't just cheat on me. He dismissed me. He erased everything I gave for 12 years like it meant nothing. And for a long time, I believed him. But walking away, choosing silence over screaming, choosing strategy over suffering, that was the moment I took myself back. This wasn't about revenge. This was about respect, self-respect. I didn't destroy his life. He just never thought I'd take mine back. Now every time I see a woman walking tall after heartbreak, I smile because I know what it takes to stand again. And if you're listening to this and wondering if you're allowed to walk away, you are. You always were. Am I wrong for feeling relieved that he lost everything after what he did to me? What would you do if you came home from surgery and found your partner in bed with someone else? Tell me in the comments, like, share, and subscribe for more true stories of betrayal and power reclaimed.